I wasn't, so I'm curious. It feels like in the early installation process, which is the only process we've seen, there is more motion. There is more pre-snap eye candy before they're getting the ball into the quarterback's hands, delivering it elsewhere. I know it's installation. I know it's early, and just a few small plays, but is there a noticeable difference? Because Jerry Jeudy even said the whole playbook's different, the whole scheme's different, the whole communication system's different. Is it that noticeable to your eyes how much different this offense looks in a little bit you've seen now versus in previous years?
Yeah. Quality they were looking for in their next coach, and Monken's going to give it to them.
Tony Grossi believes Todd Monken will be way quicker to bench underperforming players than Kevin Stefanski was. And honestly, that sounds exactly like what Cleveland wanted. Grossi says accountability was a huge reason the Browns hired Monken. If guys aren't producing, they might lose snaps fast. Monken even hinted that rookie offensive linemen could play early if the starters struggle. No more waiting around. No more long leash. This Browns team could look very different under Monken.
This is a more legitimate quarterback battle than last year. Do you buy that?
Yeah, it does feel like it is. And I'm kind of surprised that I feel that way, mainly because of what we went through last year, where it just kind of felt like, as Daryl said, like the thumb was on the scale. It did feel that way with Stefanski and a lot of how that went down. Monken seems like he's running it the right way. And if Deshaun has the advantage, Deshaun probably should have the advantage right now.
So it's interesting. I think there's a lot of things that you can compare to the last year of Stefanski, and it's just going to look good by proxy.
Because, I might do it a lot, Nick.
Well, no, and I don't mean that in like a bad way to Monken or that, but like I think Kevin was in a bad situation given, look at the four names in the quarterback room. And I also think Kevin was, like, if you follow the story of how things have unfolded here, I think he went from a position of power to the second they tried to switch the offense around Deshaun and it aggressively failed. I think he was in quicksand from that moment on. So, I think that's a benefit to Todd Monken.
Nobody told you this part. While the whole NFL world was debating Deshaun Watson's arm, something quieter was happening on a practice field in Berea, Ohio. Something that might matter more than any quarterback debate. The motion, the speed, the intent. Reporters who covered the Browns for years, through the Hugh Jackson disaster, through the Baker era, through everything, walked off that field and said the same thing. It feels different. Not better, not fixed. Different in a way that's hard to explain until you understand what they were watching. And once you do, the entire 2025 Cleveland Browns season looks completely different.
That we're focused most on. There are some other things that we could at least get
I agree,
about.
Bull, and like you're right, like Stefanski just got to the point where he wasn't answering anything.
Yeah, right.
He got stale. Well, part of it was they won 11 games in 23. Every single guy that was eligible for a contract extension had his contract extension. They came back, the quarterback stunk, they flatlined.
Yeah.
So now you have a young, hungry team. So when we get in the summer, like even the older guys are competing for something. I mean, there's some offensive linemen that have guaranteed money, but the quarterback's guaranteed nothing. Judkins has proven nothing outside of a few games.
Experience, Watson believes that Todd Monken's offense, which has some concepts of like the air raid out of college, which he's run in the past, maybe some room to freelance a little bit out of the pocket. He likes that, feels like it's a fit, but he's got to go win the job. Hasn't done it.
What Todd Monken has done and had the most success the last couple of years in the NFL has not been air raid heavy, because the two things don't match. Air raid is spread you out, run the ball less, and attack the seams. What Todd Monken has been doing is two tight ends or multiple tight ends using a fullback at tight end sometimes and spreading guys out, doing it that way. So pretty different.
Let's rewind, because you need to feel the weight of what this team just escaped. Under Kevin Stefanski, the Cleveland Browns offense became something painful to watch, not because of a lack of talent, because of a lack of identity. There was motion, but it felt broken. Quick horizontal stuff, Stefanski's reporter said. Movement for movement's sake, like someone built a machine with good parts, but the wrong blueprint. You had Amari Cooper. You had Nick Chubb. At one point, you had David Njoku in his prime. And still, the offense felt like it was apologizing for itself. And the press conferences? Stefanski got to a point where he wasn't answering anything. He was stale, defensive. Every question felt like an intrusion. So when the Browns blew it up, when they brought in Todd Monken, the man who lit up the SEC at Georgia, the man who rebuilt Lamar Jackson's surroundings in Baltimore, everyone was watching. Not because they believed it would work, because they needed to believe it could.
again. But yeah, you're definitely noticing that. You're definitely noticing a quick passing game and wanting the quarterback to move. Like, it wasn't lost on me that the second play of competitive reps, it was a zone read keeper by Deshaun Watson. Only one quarterback can run that play, right? But like, yeah, you're seeing Denzel Boston quickly move up. You're seeing Concepcion quickly move up. And because you're not seeing Fannin out there, you're seeing just a bunch of guys who are basically blocking tight ends. But everybody's getting their chance. And on this team, like Carson Ryan, the 7th round rookie, I don't know if he's going to make the team or not, but he's got a chance to be the fullback.
Here's where things get interesting. 5 OTAs in, not even pads yet, not even full-speed competitive reps, and the people watching are already scribbling things down. The very second play of competitive reps on one particular day, a zone read keeper, a designed run for the quarterback. And here's what the reporters said about that quietly, almost under their breath. Only one quarterback can run that play. That's not an accident. You don't run a zone read keeper as your second competitive snap of the day by mistake. That's a message, an organizational signal wrapped inside a mundane practice rep. But it goes deeper than the quarterback. Walk the roster right now and look at the receivers. 2 rookies, Denzel Boston and Jalen Concepcion, are turning heads in ways most Browns receivers simply haven't since Josh Gordon. Boston is 6'4", moving up the depth chart ahead of schedule. Concepcion is fast, the kind of fast where when you really watch, you notice he's running a different race than everyone else on the field. And then there's the deep ball drill, something reporters hadn't seen often under the old staff. Just throw it as far as you can and go get it. One observer made the connection immediately. 2019, first time Monken was here, same energy, bombing the deep ball in training camp. Odell was there, Jarvis Landry was there. For a moment, it looked like the offense might actually become great. It didn't. That year it broke apart. But the memory of what it almost was is haunting this one.
Are you feel like 100% right now?
I don't feel like 100%. But he's leading the competition based on what we've seen. He looks a little better based on what we've seen. And just like they're running the second play of competitive practice, a zone read keeper. That's not for Shedeur Sanders. That's not for Dylan Gabriel. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel got 3 snaps all day yesterday. That was in 7-on-7. It's Sanders versus Watson, and Watson is the leader right now. Will we have a winner officially in a week and a half, or will it be late July? I don't know. Could it change? Sure. I don't think Shedeur threw the ball poorly yesterday. I think.
Now let's talk about what's actually happening beneath the surface, because this is where the 2025 Browns get complicated. Deshaun Watson is leading the quarterback competition, not because there's been a formal announcement, not because Monken has said a word publicly, but because of how they're operating. The reps, the play calls, the zone reads. The system is being built around a specific skill set, and right now, that skill set has Watson's name on it. But there's something else happening, something subtle. Watson hasn't played football, real competitive football, in a long time, and there's a kind of rust that goes beyond mechanics. It's confidence. It's the unconscious certainty that your body will do what your mind tells it, that your timing is your own again. And what you see in these early OTAs is a system being designed to rebuild that. Motion pre-snap, eye candy before the snap, quick reads, zone reads that let him use his legs, reminding his body what it can do. Monken isn't just installing an offense, he's running a rehabilitation program disguised as a football camp. And the rookies, Boston, Concepcion, they're not just competing for roster spots, they're being used psychologically. Every time Concepcion streaks past a cornerback, every time Boston wins a rep on a deep ball drill, that's one more reason for a quarterback to trust what's in front of him. You want to rebuild a quarterback's belief, show him weapons he's never had, make him feel capable, then let him prove it.
Before. He said we installed the entire offense with the veterans in phase 2 before the rookies really got here. He said, but when you bring it out to the field and compete with it, it's different. And so then the rookies obviously are catching up and will be, but this team needs these rookies. And then so Boston is like, okay, is he ahead of schedule or is he really ahead of schedule? Spencer Fano, who's going to be the left tackle, is not yet with the ones. They're just not trying to rush him. He's going to be out there. Like yesterday, Howard wasn't there, Elton Jenkins wasn't there, almost half the So
watch how organizations talk when they're not talking. When the Browns put a 21-year-old left tackle, Spencer Fano, is the presumed Week 1 starter, they weren't making a football decision alone. They were making a future decision. They were planting a flag. This team is being rebuilt, not patched, rebuilt. But here's the tension. Fano is still running with the twos right now, 2 weeks into the process, and the reporters watching are careful to say, that's fine, that's normal, but you don't miss the implication. They announced him as the guy, they believe in him, but he's 21 years old in week 3 of his professional development, and they are being careful not to rush what they can't afford to break. The offensive line is entirely new. New coach, new system. Almost every starter is new. The only guy back on that unit with experience is Kevin Jenkins, who was a backup last year. And Monken himself, his press conference style is already different from Stefanski's. He answers things, not everything, but something. He said the quarterback competition is ongoing, but he said it like someone who already knows how it ends. That's not nothing. That's a man managing a process he's already mapped. And the organizational calendar matters here too. Monken installed the entire offense with veterans before the rookies arrived. The blueprint existed before the pieces were on the field. That's not typical. That's a coordinator who came in with a vision, not a plan B.
So what does all of this actually mean for the 2025 Browns? It means the ceiling is genuinely unknown. And in Cleveland, that hasn't been true in years. You have a coordinator who built arguably the most efficient offense in college football history at Georgia. You have 2 rookie receivers who might legitimately change what this team can threaten downfield. You have a running back in Quinshon Judkins who 5 OTAs in is already running away from his backfield competition like they're practicing different sports. And you have a quarterback who, if healthy, if believing, if protected by a rebuilt line and surrounded by new weapons, could look like a completely different player. The key word is if, because this franchise has been here before. The motion, the deep balls, the talent, the energy, and then August comes and something breaks. The rhythm disappears, the quarterback struggles, the season turns grim before it begins. What's different this time? Maybe nothing, maybe everything. What's different is that for the first time in years, the system feels like it was built with actual intent, not assembled from spare parts, designed. And there's one more thing worth considering. The Browns have been asked about Brendan Sorsby, a supplemental draft prospect, and whether they're interested. The answer was careful, diplomatic, but it was also clear. They completely wasted a third-round pick a year ago. They know they need a quarterback future. They're not pretending otherwise anymore. Which means, even if Watson wins this competition, even if he starts week 1 and plays well, this front office is already thinking 3 moves ahead. This isn't just a new offense. This is a new era, or the beginning of one. The question isn't whether Todd Monken can build something here. You can see it forming in real time. The question is whether this team is finally ready to let it be built.
We started with a single observation, motion that felt different. A second play of competitive practice that was a zone read keeper. And now look where we are. A quarterback trying to become himself again. A coordinator who's running a masterclass disguised as an OTA. Rookies setting the tone before pads even go on. An organization that has finally stopped pretending it has answers and started building toward them. Maybe this is the year Cleveland stops being a story about potential and starts being a story about results. Maybe it breaks again in August like it always does. But 5 practices in, the motion feels intentional. The deep balls are flying. The second play of competitive reps was a quarterback keeper. And for the first time in a long time, the Browns look like they know exactly what they're doing.